Hey, Coach, I'm so happy you found us on YouTube. Make sure you go over and subscribe and like, go down below, hit the bell up above if you want to make sure you get anything else coming. Also, make sure you go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. If you're looking to become a better basketball coach, if you're looking to take it to the next level, that's why I started it to help you become a better basketball coach. And if you're looking to take it to the next level and get full season access, you're looking for our complete library. You're looking for 2 memberships and my full library. Go over to hit wintheseason.com. Wintheseason.com. You can get teachhoops.com. You can get full season access, everything we do in our program that has made us one of the top programs in the country. And then you get my full library with the funnel down defense, rule of 3 offense, everything you would want. Go over and check it out, wintheseason.com, and have a great day.
Hello, coaches, and welcome to another episode of Coaching Youth Hoops. I am your coach, Coach Bill Flitter. Today we have a special guest, Sam Wanuski. He is a coach at Southeast Arkansas. Coach Sam, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. And please introduce your dog behind you. Who's that?
Yeah, this is Sissy. She's about 3 years old. She's a good one.
Awesome. How big is Sissy? Sissy looks like she's got a good size to her.
She's about medium size. I don't know,
Okay.
maybe 20 pounds or
Oh,
so.
okay. All right. All right. There she is. Yeah, she wants to get some on time airtime, I should
Yeah.
say. Yeah. Coach Sam, tell us a little bit about your coaching journey. I know it started in California and now you're in Arkansas several years later. So fill in the gap. Tell us what you're doing now.
Yeah, I'll try to not bore your audience too long here. I've been at a lot of different places. I played at Chico State, Division II school in Northern California. And like most coaches, I realized pretty soon I wasn't going to be going to the NBA and I had to get into something that I loved. And so that took me on this coaching path. And I was a grad assistant at an NAI school, Concordia, Nebraska. Wanted to get to Division I real badly, really networked and got on at Southern Miss as a grad assistant my second year. Coach Stacy was the head coach there. He got the head job at Colorado State, took me with him. I was able to move up to the video coordinator spot over there. Was with him for 1 year. Back-to-back years with him, we went to the NCAA tournament, which was real exciting. And assistant over there, Nico Medved, who's now the current head coach at Colorado State, but at the time was an assistant, got the head job at Furman, and I went with him as the director of operations. And so I did that for a year, but I really kind of, to be honest, got tired of kind of doing administrative stuff. And so really wanted to get into more coaching, recruiting, and that kind of led me down to the junior college path. And so I kind of bounced around a lot of different junior colleges. I'll just kind of ring them out real quick. I was at Vincennes in Indiana, Midland in Texas, Tallahassee, Florida, Seward in Kansas. And then most recently, I spent the last 3 years in Dyersburg, Tennessee. And then that coach got the head job over here at Southeast Arkansas, and I followed him over here. And most recently, we are a new athletics program, and so I came here as the boys' assistant. But as of about a month and a half ago, I also was able to get the women's head coaching job over here. So I'll be doing double duty as the men's assistant and the new women's head coach over here.
Holy cow, I didn't realize you're going to be doing double duty. So until the program starts, or how does that work are you going to be able to sleep? I mean, what's the story here, Sam?
Yeah, no, we'll see how long it goes for, but I'm planning to do both until they tell me I can't do it anymore. My head coach and I have been together, like I said, this will be our 4th year.
Yeah.
So we've got a real good kind of understanding of both of our, how we work. And yeah, I'm excited to be kind of a first-year head coach, and it'll be my first year on the women's side. My high priority right now is to eventually find a women's assistant coach to help me out with recruiting women, since obviously that hasn't been where most of my experience has been. But hopefully once I get a good assistant in, that'll kind of ease off some of the pressure of coaching and recruiting on that side. And
Yeah.
it'll definitely be a hard task, but I'm excited for it.
Well, good luck with that, Coach. That sounds very exciting to take over, and I can add that to your long resume. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, and I think you left out one thing, which is you've been helping us out as well. You've been drawing up some amazing plays. If you're listening to this right now, you'll be seeing those shortly. We haven't made those public, but the work you've been doing to help youth coaches has been absolutely amazing, and we really appreciate your level of thinking, bringing that down to the youth level.
Absolutely. Yeah. With not having a season, I had to stay busy doing something. So I've enjoyed doing it.
Oh, good. Well, we appreciate that. And today we're going to talk about creating your team's identity. Now, you got a blank slate, really, because first year women's program there is no tradition, right? So you're really at the ground level, and kind of I want to understand from your perspective, what does that even mean?
Creating the identity you're talking about?
Creating the identity. And of course, maybe break that down from your level at the college level, and then let's talk about the high school level, and then even at a grade school level, because I think you obviously at the high school and college level you can create an identity, but definitely at the grade school level, I mean, we do it now, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so I've worked for a ton of coaches now in my somewhat youthful coaching career,
Yeah.
and so each coach is different, and so you grab something from each one. But what I'll keep kind of referring back to is my 2 years working for Larry Eustace, and when we talk about creating a team identity. Sorry, I got my dog in the back. I don't want to.
No
But
worries.
to me, the team identity is about kind of your core principles, your values, your beliefs, and the specific aspects of the game that you feel are most valuable. And at least at the college level and even maybe high school level, I think you need to ask yourself as a coach, what is the most important aspects that you believe are critical and essential for winning. Now, going down to the lower levels, middle school, junior high, maybe below that, it might not be winning, right? And so
Mhm.
if the most important things are skill development, I think, you can have an identity around that. We're going to be focused around developing our players. We're going to be focused on becoming better shooters, becoming better teammates with each other, and so some of those definitely carry over as you get older and can be, used both at, we want to be great teammates at every level, right?
Right. Yeah.
But as we get to the higher levels, the focus on winning is obviously a higher importance level. And so I think, like I said, looking at kind of as a coach and really looking in the mirror, if you're a high school coach and you have other assistants that you can confide in and, at the beginning of the season, talking and figuring out what is going to be the most important, I think 3 at maximum 4 things that we're going to really focus on and preach to our guys on a daily basis. I think about that saying, if you try to be great at everything, you'll be good at nothing, right? And I think
Yeah.
a lot of coaches, especially maybe young coaches, each day it's something different that they're preaching to their players. And next thing you know, even if you are a real smart coach and you know a lot, it's not about what you know, it's about what you can get your players to know. And so a lot of players will get overwhelmed with so many different things that you're throwing at them. One day we're talking defense, the next we're talking offense. We're in a timeout and you're yelling at them for not crashing. The next time you're yelling at them for a turn, and it can be overwhelming,
Yeah.
And so I think creating a team identity where the players really understand what's expected from their coach. And again, I think 3 is kind of the number that I like personally. That way, it's something tangible. It's something that it's more than 1, but not an overwhelming amount. And so I think, I'll use again kind of the example with Larry Eustace. For those that don't know, I think he was the 2001 Coach of the Year at Iowa State, and I worked for him for 2 years. But he would always talk about his kind of three core principles and our identity, and that was defend, rebound, and then team together. And so I think having kind of two, basketball related things, whether it's your offense, your out of bounds plays, your press defense, whatever, 2, 3 basketball things, and then having a kind of cognitive mentality thing, whether it's, hey, positive attitude, we're going to bring energy every day, whatever kind of mentality aspect you bring, and I think is a good additional one to bring. But those were our key three that we constantly talked about, was defend, rebound, team together. And so,
And does that okay, well, we talked about this off air, which is, at the college level, you can recruit for someone to be great rebounders and defenders, right? Now, hopefully they're all, no matter who you recruit, if it's or who you have on your team, they're great teammates, right? So, but so I want you to talk about that. I'm assuming then when you're recruiting, you're looking for those players that are great defenders, great rebounders. And really my true question is, does the identity percolate, or are you as the head coach setting the identity? And then, and what is that balancing act? And especially at the youth level, because I get what I get, right?
right. I think it's kind of a combination of both. I think, kind of to answer your question, yeah, we'd love a player that can do everything, but I'm going to take a player that can score the ball. And when he gets here, we're going to then input our mentality of defending and rebounding
Okay.
on him. And so I think there's a good kind of balance of doing both. I think at the lower levels, and again, it depends on what your core principles are and the things that
Yeah.
you are stressing, right? I mean, like we talked about, you can stress being a great teammate no matter what age that they are at.
Yeah.
So I think it just kind of depends, but I think, at a situation where you get what you get, it needs to be a balance of, okay, our team is full of great shooters. So maybe this year we're going to really talk about being the best offensive team, that we can be.
Yeah.
Our team, but at the same time, one of my principles is, our 1-3-1 defense. So, okay, we're going to take our strength that we have, which is shooting, but I'm also going to implement my defense, which is my 1-3-1, and I'm going to make sure that they also understand this is part of our identity as well, And so, and then maybe on the other side, another year, you look and you've got all great athletes. Okay, we're really going to become the best defensive team, and maybe shooting's not going to be talked about as much. So I think at the lower levels where you don't, have as much ability to pick and choose your players, you have what you have. I think you can't be so stubborn and hard-headed in your ways. I think you have to look at what you have and then kind of adjust to it. But I think what's important, coach, is that what you do kind of, go with, you try to stick with at least throughout the year, and obviously, your team strengths might change and you might recognize some things here and there. But I think it can be a mistake for coaches to say, hey, we're going to be a, run and jump press team. And then you get halfway through and now we're gonna be a 2-3 zone team. I think that can create, issues. I'm all about making adjustments, but if your players are unsure about kind of where you stand on certain things, and they don't believe you're confident in what you're teaching them, you're going to start losing them, and players buying in is almost half the battle in itself, whether you're 100% right in what you're teaching or you're not. If you're getting them to buy in and you fully believe in what you're teaching, I think that goes a long way with getting a lot out of the players.
Well, how do you know? Let's talk about both ways. What are signs that the players are buying in, and then vice versa? I think probably the the negative is probably might be more obvious, but I don't know. In your opinion, how do you know when you have buy-in? What gets you excited? Like, yeah, it's
Yeah,
getting through.
it's a good question. And I've got kind of four little points here. I'll jump
Yeah,
through and then it'll kind of relay into your question here.
yeah,
But once you figure out what is most important, I think you need to talk about it obviously constantly. Bring it up at the beginning of the year, defend, rebound, team together, guys. This is what we're about. You need to then be working on it in practice on a daily basis. It's one thing to say we're about defense, but if 80% of your practice is working on offense and shooting, the two aren't correlating,
yeah.
and players will recognize that. Then you need to back it up with your own actions. And I think, this might be more of kind of that third aspect of, team together or positive attitude. But if myself as a coach is preaching being positive and then I'm always berating a player, I'm not showcasing what I'm trying to get my players to do. So you need to back it up with your own actions as a coach. And then this will kind of lead into your point. The fourth thing I kind of got written down is reflection and getting feedback from your players. And so I think at the end of a practice, hey guys, how do you guys think we did today? And if we're always talking about defense and rebounding, and little Johnny wants to say he needs to work on his ball handling, yes, I agree, Johnny, that it's might be true, but we might not be on the same page. And I think asking, hey, how do you guys think we did rebounding today is a good question. I've got a quick kind of story for you that I think also really hits the nail right here.
Yeah.
Really made me think of this as you asked this. But when I was at Southern Miss, we lost to Memphis. This was the year they had Will Barton over there. I think he's still in the league, maybe playing for Denver still. But anyways, we lost. And after the game, our player got interviewed, newspaper, or maybe it was even a radio talk show, and said, what could you guys have done better? What went wrong? How could you guys have played better? And he talked about missing shots. They need to shoot better. They just weren't shooting well. They didn't shoot well that game, which seems completely normal. It's a very generic answer. You hear it all the time on ESPN.
Right. Yeah.
Something that's not unfamiliar. Well, the next day, and we had practice at I think 6 a.m. every day over there. But so about 6 a.m. and we would meet before practice. We'd watch film or just talk for 15, 20 minutes in the meeting room. And the very first thing that Coach Stacy talked about, he called out that player in front of the whole team. And he basically said, what are you talking about here? I heard you on the radio. I saw you in the newspaper, and you want to talk about missing shots. And he said, I've never once talked about we're losing these games because we're missing shots. And so he kind of made it real clear right there that, the players should be thinking about defending, rebounding, and playing together. And if after the game he's talking about missing shots, even if it is true, he's not on the same page as the head coach. And so come game time, if he's thinking about making shots, he's not thinking like the head coach is thinking about. And so I think that kind of answers your question, is to see, if the players are understanding and they are on the same page, asking them after a game, hey guys, how do you think we did? Hey, how was our rebounding today? And again, I keep using rebounding, defending just to have a consistent basis, but it could be anything.
Right.
If we're all about shooting, hey guys, how did we shoot it today? Oh, I didn't get my elbow in, coach. Okay, well, at least we're talking about the same language here. And so I'll always remember that story because it really stuck in my head that this player gave a very generic answer, something that most coaches would have no problem with. But Coach Stacy had a huge problem with it because we're preaching one thing and out of his mouth is something completely different. And he never, ever talked about missing shots, never in a huddle, never after a game, never said, hey, we lost this game because we didn't make enough shots. It was always, we should have played better defense. We should have got more offensive rebounds. And that's how we could have won the game. And so you can be sure that after that, all the interviews, those players were talking about defense and rebounding. And whether it was from that talk or not, or just from more buy-in, but they made it, Coach made it clear that if you're not thinking like he is, you're not completely bought in to what we're trying to teach.
Yeah, and I want to break this down a little bit because this is really relates to what I do, and this again at the grade school level and when I was coaching high school too, is we had an identity, and our identity that we established, it was an acronym that we came up with, and I still use it to this day because I think it's really important. So now, now I have a travel ball team, and we take our identity a step further. And if you've been listening to this podcast for a little bit, you've heard me say this, and it's two words. It's red dot. Like I said, it's an acronym. So and it breaks up into two pieces. The first piece is the game on the court, and the second piece is the game in your head, right? And so the first piece, red. So red stands for rebounding, efficient scoring, and defense. So as a program, those are the three things that we really put an emphasis on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we preach those at the beginning of practice. I do it even in all my camps. You get the Red Dot Award. You get the Red Dot Award after practice. We manifestate it as well by placing a red dot at a pressure point between, if you're watching this on video right here, it's a pressure point. So we know that the kids are going to make a mistake, right? So every kid has a red dot before every game, before every practice. They just grab that red dot. Okay, done, reset, right? Next play, right? So that's a kind of a reset button for them. And then the second part of it, the dot part, is drive, open, together. So drive means energy and effort. Okay. Open is being coachable and being really open to other teammates, other opinions, etc. Right. And then of course together is together, teamwork, and all of that goes along with it. And so we created that just so it was easy, right? Everybody is like, it's the red dot way, right? And everybody, we preach it from third grade up to all our high school players. And that's what and again, as I bring on new coaches, what do you work on? Well, it's red, right? Rebound, efficient scoring, defense. And it's all, of course, that's all broken down. What does that mean? What does efficient scoring mean, right? We're trying to get an and one every time, right? So we teach that. We teach how to do that, right? And we never have, I should say never, rarely have really good outside shooters. So we have to be efficient with how we score, right?
Sure.
So again, it's all, and I bring that up to say, it can happen at, you're with your men and your women at the college level, year round, right? And you can at least have conversations, and you're talking with they're there to play basketball and go to school, right? At the grade school level, even at the high school level, it's, yes, it's a sport. They play. The focus isn't necessarily winning. It's improving as an individual. But at the same time, this identity can be established at whatever level you're at. And my question to you is, how does that translate into, let's start again at the college level, wins and losses. Let's say you have no identity versus an identity, okay? And then all the way, let's trickle that all the way down, you think, and maybe it's the same answer, but how do you, we're all about measurement, right? As coaches, and you want to see improvement. So how can you quantify that, hey, this is really working, it's really resonating? Does that make sense, Coach?
Yeah, I think putting, certain goals out there, defensively, we want to hold teams to X amount of points, from a rebounding standpoint. And obviously I know it's harder to maybe stat some of these games at lower levels, but like our goal was always offensive rebound, 50% of our misses. And at halftime, we'd get a box score and go. I mean, it was quickly easy to figure out for those that have never done it before. We've got 30 shots up. Well, we need to have 15 rebounds. 15 offensive rebounds gives us 50% offensive rebound percentage. And then, going kind of from there, I think players or teams that don't have an identity, I kind of mentioned this, it can be too many things going on at once. And I think players can get overwhelmed by having too many things to think about in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think regardless of the level, I think you want them focused on, like I said, not too many things. And so when it came to defense and rebounding, our players knew that, if they were going to get pulled out of a game for a mistake, it was going to be for one of those reasons. So that allowed them to play freely offensively, right? They miss a shot, they're not looking over the bench to see if they're going to
Right.
get pulled out, but they give up an offensive rebound, there's a good chance they're going to get pulled out. On the other hand, you don't have any identity and you're pulling kids out for every single little mistake. And now the player's not, he's just thinking about not making a mistake, instead of going out there and playing hard and, maybe putting that emphasis on those one or two things that, he knows are important to you. So I think a lot of that correlates down to, all the different levels. And I think, I guess if I were to try to cater it towards, I think, if you're a high school coach or you're a player, a lot of those principles and core values that you're going to teach those guys, they are going to translate to the college level. And I think it's important for players. I always tell players, especially at the beginning of the year, you need to adjust to, your coach. Each coach you're going to be with is going to be different. Figure out right away what's important to him or her. And so you might have played for a coach that emphasized rebounding. And obviously that's great if it's in your game now. And this next coach really emphasizes driving the basketball, whatever it might be.
Right.
Figure out what's important to him, whether it's right or wrong. That's going to be the best opportunity for you to stay in the game. And I think as a player, that's going to help you. And as a coach, mentioning that and stressing it to your players. Hey, I know your old coach taught you this, and that's great. But what I'm going to be most happy with you about is by doing X, Y, and Z. And, I think once players realize right away that each coach is going to be a little different, if they can kind of adjust to their coach, it's going to help them in the long run. But hopefully that kind of answered your answer in some way.
Yeah, well, and you're in a unique position right now because you're starting a program, right? There's 0 players there now, very few, right? And you're starting this women's program at the college. Of course, you have your beliefs, right? But is it pen to paper at this point of saying, okay, this is my identity or our team's identity? Right. You don't have any, you're out recruiting right now, right? So is that how you kind of start? It's because it's very similar to what a high school coach or a grade school coach has, is they have no idea what their team is going to look like, right?
Yeah.
From year to year.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's a good point. To be honest with you, my focus is, to go find the best players that I can find. And
Okay.
then once we get them all here,
Yeah.
we're going to be playing pickup, similar to, I guess, like a high school coach.
Yeah.
He might know what he has from day one. We're going to be playing pickup. I'm going to give him, just like any kind of open gym, we're going to let them play. And from there, I'm going to really kind of evaluate what we have to work with. And like I said, if I see that we're a really good shooting team, and I'm not going to try to, in my heart, I'd love to be defense, rebounding, team together, but again, I think it goes back, if you want to be a good coach, I think not being too stuck in your ways and too stubborn, because there's going to be years where you have a real quick team and you need to play it quicker. There's going to be years that you have a slower, taller team, and playing zone and packing it in is going to be your best strategy. So I think not predetermining it so much. You might have those 1 or 2 key elements that you do want to, obviously carry over from year to year. And if you're coaching high school and you get a kid for 4 years, you could have some good carryover of certain principles and core values that you're teaching. But if you're a middle school coach and the 6th graders are moving up to middle school, and this will be the first year and maybe only year that you get them, I think you need to be really flexible with what you're teaching from an offensive, defensive standpoint. And, those other things of playing together, hard work, those should be carried over kind of regardless of the players that you have. But as far as the
Yeah.
style of play, I think you need to really look at how long are we going to have these guys for, and what are their strengths. And then once you figure that out at the beginning, zone in on it, and keep stressing it on a daily basis.
And what are some of those early signs that the what are some early signs that it's working, that this identity, or the identity is coming out, or what you're preaching? Maybe not so much of the, of course you can see it in the stats, but what do you look for beyond the stats that it's working?
I think, players talking amongst each other.
Hmm.
I think it's funny if you're able to just kind of sit back as a coach sometimes. Again, we stressed offensive rebounding, which, real quick, if you're teaching rebounding, I always tell coaches, teach offensive rebounding, because as a byproduct, you'll become great at defensive rebounding.
Mm-hmm.
But so I'd love sitting back sometimes just in the stands, and let's say we're in between some pickup games, the guys are sitting around, and you'll hear guys, oh, I got 4 offensive rebounds that game, or oh, you didn't get a rebound on me. And so you can see, even though they might not know that I hear it,
Yeah.
they're talking about it, and you can see that they're starting to buy in, because they're not talking about some crossover that they had, right? And they're talking about rebounding, which is hopefully what I've kind of gotten into their head. Um, so I think it just depends, but I do think when players are talking amongst each other, I think that's a really good sign. Using a different example, maybe we talk about 1-2 footwork on shooting, stepping into
Hmm.
your shot every single day. And you see your players constantly on their own in the gym working on those type of, footwork mechanics that we've talked about. I think, we talk about ball handling, and I've given them some drills. And again, you're able to get in the gym and you see them working on those drills by themselves. I think those are great kind of indicators that they're picking up on what you're talking about. Being a great teammate, are they, a player falls down, are they running over there, picking them up? Are they encouraging them, when they're out of the game? I think those are great indicators. Anything that you can do as a coach and see the guys without them seeing that you see them,
Right. Yeah.
is a great sign, because you know that they're doing it genuinely. They're not just doing it to impress you. And so, as a coach, try to find ways that you can peek your head into the door, sneak in. At our place, we kind of have an upstairs where I can hang out upstairs. We got some workout stuff that we can work out on, and I can watch our guys from the top without even them seeing me sometimes. So I enjoy doing that. But yeah, I think if you can, see your players talk amongst each other and do the stuff that you've taught them without them knowing that you're watching them, I think are good signs.
Yeah, no, that's important. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I'm going to switch gears a little bit, and something just popped into my head because it comes up often, uh, and I hear it, through our groups. I hear it from parents, coaches, whatever. Kind of now at your level, you're seeing the result of the work that's been done at the lower levels, even starting at a very young level. Uh, it's just maybe just off the top of your head, like what are the 3 things you think that players are lacking today, and that it needs to be emphasized a little bit more in high school and even at grade school?
Well, I think shooting, you can never have too much shooting.
Hmm.
Nowadays, I don't, I don't know everywhere, but it seems like so many gyms have a shooting gun.
Hmm.
I don't know your thoughts on that, Coach, but uh, we didn't have that when I was growing up. I didn't see a
Hmm.
shooting gun until I got to college, and now so many high schools have them, and I
Yeah.
think it's a shame that there's not more time spent on them. I think if you're a high school kid, you should be begging your coach to get into the gym before school starts, live on the shooting gun. You're able to get up 10, 20 times more shots than players could back in the day when they had to go chase down their rebounds.
Yeah.
Another thing is, playing, if this, I guess, applies more to younger players,
Yeah.
6th, 7th, 8th grade, play with older players, I think, as much as possible. And I think that's not done enough nowadays. Growing up, I played with older players all the time. Number one, it's you don't want to lose, because you lose in a pickup game, it might take you a while to get back in. You're playing with older players, and so you don't want to turn the ball over, or you might not get the ball again.
Yeah.
You don't want to take a bad shot, or you're going to hear about it and you might not get the ball again. And as I mentioned, the first thing, when you're open, you need to knock down shots, right? You're playing with older players.
Yeah.
You're not going to be often the best ball handler. You're not going to be able to drive all the way to the basket. So I think you get so many positives out of playing with older players. And I encourage, in 6th grade, once you're old enough, you're not going to get hurt. But once you start maturing and you're able to play with the 8th, 9th graders, you're a 9th grader, find every opportunity after your 9th grade practice, hang around and see if the varsity needs an extra player for practice or open gym. I think that's can really help players' games. I think so many players now get stuck into this mode of just individual workouts all day and doing the newest cool workout and working on a different move, and you don't get the same translation always as you would get if you were playing in a game. Getting a feel for the game. So shooting, number one, getting a better feel by playing with older players, I think would be number two. And then I think team defense, is something that can really be taught at a younger age and can really be improved. I made a YouTube video recently talking about being a great defender, and something that every single player can control is taking pride. You should try to be the best team defender on your team, because that's all mental, right?
Yeah.
We would love to be the Kawhi Leonard and be 6'8" with huge hands and athletic ability and be able to slow down LeBron James. But the truth is, based on your physical ability, your quickness level, you might be limited on how much you can really defend on the ball. However, there's no excuse to be late on help side defense. There's no excuse to not call out screens, to talk about situations on defense. Hey, this is another great thing about playing pickup, playing 1s and 2s. Hey guys, we're down, they need a 2 to win, right? We're playing to 11, it's 9 up. I'm talking to my teams. I'm being a great team defender. No 2s, no 2s. We're switching every screen. And so I always took a ton of pride in that. As a coach, I never get on my players when they get blown by on the ball. That's something that I don't know if I'm very unique in that. I don't get mad at the players that get scored on, because they didn't mean to get scored on, right?
Yeah, right.
And we can get in the gym afterwards and we can do some weightlifting. We can teach some techniques. We'll watch some film. Hey, now if it's something like he's left-handed, we've let him go left 3 times, okay, that's something maybe different. But in general, if a player is trying his hardest, which they usually are in a game, I'm going to get more upset about the help defense. Those are the reasons that we got scored on more so than the guy guarding the ball, because he's doing everything he can. So kind of in a long-winded answer, I'd say players need to become better shooters. I've never, I just watched a high school game yesterday. Good player that we're looking at recruiting. He had 20 points, kind of a combo guard. But I texted my coach afterwards and I said, I don't know if he shoots it well enough. And as you get to higher and higher levels, you're not going to be able to get all the way to the basket. You have to develop your outside shooting ability, because your athletic ability is going to hit a peak. But your shooting can continue to improve and improve. And not only to be able to knock down shots, but also to create closeouts. If you're not going to shoot it, you're able to create a closeout and drive by the guy. But I told my head coach, I said, I like him. He can handle the ball. He's quick, but I don't know if his shooting is going to translate over here. And, So shooting, I think, is extremely important. Playing with older players as much as you can to get a better feel for the game. And then number three, becoming the best team defender. If you're a player listening to this, there's no reason why you should not be the best team defender on your team. There's no excuse for it. And if you're a coach, I encourage you to really get on your help defense a lot more than the player guarding the
I
ball.
like that.
Because again, it's not, he's doing
Yeah.
all he can,
That's a
but
really
where's
good
the
point.
help at? Where's the help?
No, I love that. Sorry to interrupt, but yeah, that's a really good point about the help defense and get on the help defense a little bit more. I don't want to put words in your mouth. You mentioned a lot about scrimmaging pickup games, okay? Which I think when you and I were growing up, and I'm a little bit older than you, that's all we did. I mean, literally every day we were outside doing, pickup games all the time. We didn't need a
Yeah.
gym. We played outside. We had our one pair of tennis shoes that we wore inside and outside, right? And are we playing too many organized games as a whole? And you know what I'm talking about, AAU type of style. Is that are they? Yeah, I'll just maybe leave it at that, and you can maybe just address it how you want to address it.
I think yes and no, and I'll
Hmm.
break it down. I
Yeah.
think you know, I think kids like to find reasons to maybe be lazy. So I played my AAU
Mm,
game this Saturday. I
yeah.
better I'm taking Sunday off, coach. I played, 2 games this weekend already. Um, However, I don't believe you can ever really play too much. This isn't a sport where you're going to be so worn down that you can't. I never could recall a day in my life when I was a player where I was just too worn out to play.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
whole thing in the
Yeah.
NBA now, what do they call it? Where they take a day off, for rest. I forget the
Right.
term that they use, but it wasn't a thing in the NBA back in the day, and it should
Right.
definitely not be a thing as you're growing up as a player. So I don't think you can play too much. I think if anything, you can become too much of a workout player. Oh no, guys, I'm
Mm,
not going to play pickup today. I got my workout with my trainer later on. You know, I'm not buying it. A real
yeah.
player, you do it all. Like you said, I mean, you should be playing as much as possible. Oh, we've only got 9. Okay, we'll play 4-on-4. We'll play 3-on-3, and we'll have a team ready to sub in. I, you cannot simulate game like movements, game like feel for the game in those one-on-one instructions and drills. And I think you kind of asked about maybe AAU being too much. I didn't play AAU growing up. We didn't really have it in my area, so all I did was play pickup all the time.
Yeah.
Um, Now, if I could go back and we had it, I would certainly play in AAU. But like I said, it would not stop me from continuing to play in addition to it. I think playing is good, especially if you're not, sitting on the bench. Now, if you're traveling and you're sitting on the bench and you're just there to have a name on your chest and, be part of the team, you're better off going and finding pickup games somewhere else. But no, I don't think you can play too much as long as you're not getting in your head that, okay, I did enough. A player that
Hmm.
cares about it, you should be playing your AAU on Friday, Saturday, and you should figure out where are the pickup games on Sunday. If you're a player, you should know within a 30 to 45-minute radius, especially if you can drive, where are all the pickup games? What time do they start? And I'll say this, here's a tip for you younger guys. If you're ninth grade, eighth, ninth grade, it was a high priority for me in eighth, ninth grade to find a friend that was already driving that played basketball. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
have my
That's a good
license
point.
yet.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
quickly figured out who else cares about basketball like I do. And that person became one of my best friends, no doubt about it. And
Yeah.
suddenly I'm telling him, we're playing over here. Let's go over here. This is where we're going. Give him some gas money. And now you got to ride. There's no excuse to, and and that's why it's important to be able to play with older players. They're not going to want to take you with them if you can't hang with the big boys. But
Yeah.
play with them early on as much as you can, and then they're going to take you. We would sneak into I grew up in Woodland, California, which is about 20-25
Oh,
minutes
yeah.
from UC Davis.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it was 9th, 10th grade, and me and my buddies were sneaking into the Davis Rec Center playing with grown men, as much as we could, at least once or twice a week. And so
Yeah.
I know I gave you another long answer, but I don't believe you can play too much, especially with games. I think players need to be careful that they don't have this mindset of being too tired. I mean, I lift weights every day now, and in order to maximize my weight gain, they say take a day off. And even that's a struggle for me from a mental standpoint.
Mm.
But basketball wise, there's just no excuse to not be playing every day. I think they
Well,
need to
yeah,
find.
I think I think in my younger days, of course we didn't have a phone in our pocket,
Mm,
right? But everybody just happened we met. I don't know how
yeah,
we
everybody
organized it. It
knew.
was everybody knew we're gonna go play, right? Or even if it's just at the very least one-on-one, right? I
Yeah,
remember playing, this is one of my fondest memories. There was this we would do, I don't even know how we did this. It was one of the dads loved to play. And so we would, I think a lot of times it ended up being 2-on-2, or a lot of times 2-on-1. It was the two younger guys versus the dad, right? And we would play for hours, just the three of us, sometimes four, right? If we could find a four, but we didn't
yeah,
make an excuse, right? Oh, we only have three players, right? It's
yeah.
like, no, we're going to go out and play. And we played, right? Yeah. So,
I
yeah,
think you hit it
good
right on the
experience.
nail.
Yeah.
Regardless of the numbers, one-on-one is great.
Hmm.
That's one of the best. Play one-on-one from top of the key, play one-on-one starting from the free throw line, play one-on-one with a dribble limit, play
Hmm.
one-on-one in the post. We play even as a guard. We're going to start in the post. Just roll the ball to yourself, and you're starting in the post, and you have a dribble limit. The other thing is, I want to tell players out there, don't be afraid to play outside. I mean, we did it
Right.
all the
Right.
time growing up.
Yeah.
We didn't have access to these indoor gyms. It's not going to ruin your knees. If you fall down, you're going to be tougher. There's just no excuse. Find out where you can play, even if it's outdoors, and go play. It'll make you a better shooter if you can shoot outside as well.
Well, yeah. Amen to that. Well, Coach, this has been amazing. I appreciate your time today. Uh, any last words? And then uh, also, where can coaches find you?
Yeah, I guess just as far as last words, speaking to players, like I'm going to reinforce again, any players
Yeah.
watching, play as much as possible, become great at shooting. That's never going to
Mhm.
hurt your game. And as far as coaches go, going back to just kind of think about your team identity from the beginning, figure out what kind of players you have, and really reinforce that on a consistent and constant basis. And then, yeah, where you can find me, I'm very active on Twitter. I don't know if you can post it or something, but my
Yeah. Yeah. We'll
username,
definitely put it in the show notes. Yeah.
but it's my first name, Sam, the number one, and then New Ski. So Newski. And then I'm also really active. I've started a YouTube channel to really kind of cater towards middle school and junior high kids, talking about shooting, different fundamentals. But I've also started kind of making more videos that also help, I think, coaches as well. And so my YouTube channel is Shot Doctor, at Shot Doctor. And I've actually just posted a rebounding video, and I'm going to kind of follow that one up with actual Colorado State film. I got it from 2013, Coach.
Yeah.
Still a film of what I call the best rebounding drill ever created. And we did it for about 30, 40 minutes every day at Colorado State.
Oh,
And so
wow.
I'm just now kind of working on breaking that up, explaining it, and I'll be posting that on YouTube. And that's definitely going to be kind of, focused for more for coaches to implement that in their
Yeah.
practices.
Well, let me know when that's ready. We'll share that out with the group too. But we'll
Absolutely.
put all your information in the show notes. That's amazing that you got Shock Doctor. That's my nickname, by the way. So
Oh,
I'm
I stole from
self-proclaimed.
you there.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that, Coach. Thank you again for your time. This has been absolutely amazing. Looking forward to see where you go from here. And maybe we'll talk at the end of your first season once you get rolling too. So let's keep in touch.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for your time. And as I said, I'm real active on Twitter. I love talking hoops with anybody out there. And yeah, follow us. That's another thing. Let me throw that out there. Follow my program, Southeast Arkansas Community College. We are a new program. We're just working on getting the athletic side up there, but we do have some social media, and we'll be out there.
What's the mascot?
We are the Sharks.
Sharks. There we go. Okay, well, go Sharks.
Yes, sir.
All right, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll see you.
Okay. Oops.
Hey, Coach, I hope you like this. Make sure you go over and check out Teachhoops. Make sure you subscribe and like. Make sure you go over, leave some comments if you have any questions or anything like that. I'm here to help. I'm here to serve. Go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. The one-stop membership for everything that you would need. And if you're looking to take it to the next level, you're looking for a mentor, you're looking for my own boxer, you're looking for everything, my library, everything that's included, go to winthisseason.com. Talk to you soon.